Insurance.
Please return to your seats. Class is now in session at usaprepares.com. Interact now by emailing instructor@usaprepares.com or text 417-200-4715. And now, Vincent Finelli and Mark Wright.
This is USA Prepares on KWTO 560 AM, and we are talking with Roy Birdsong of Choose Your Own Wireless today. Vincent, why don't you resume this interesting interview?
Roy, I've got some questions, and maybe Riggs and Stan Smith can join in on this also. And by the way, we have a packed studio here.
We do. I mean, I don't think we've ever had this many people in the studio at one time.
Well, it's getting like this, Mark. We're starting to have more and more people in the studio at one time.
It's fun. The energy, man. Everybody's looking and smiling and having a good time. This is the way radio should be.
And I heard our favorite song twice today during Rush Limbaugh's show.
Let me take a wild guess. Would it be the Wall Street Shuffle?
It was, and we need to put the lyrics on our website. Well, getting back to cell phones, Roy, Stan, Riggs, business uses. There must be 1 million or more business uses for smartphones.
Yeah, there's a lot of business uses. Stan has got one interesting take on this, and it's really been picking up and increasing a lot, and that's in the security business. Stan, why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Greetings, students. I have a deep background in security business, cameras, residential, commercial, burg and fire, and the latest thing is being able to view camera systems at your business or your home remotely from anywhere that you have data access. You can view these on your cell phone, on your smartphone. And the peace of mind that you get from being able to check on your equipment yard or your business on the weekends in the evening is phenomenal. And parents who say go out to eat at night and leave the kids at home can check back. They can look on the cameras and see what the kids are doing. Of course, the kids don't like it, but it's one of the newest things in cell phone and security cameras, and it is just taken off like you wouldn't believe.
Well, let's get back into how we can use these cameras. Roy, what are your thoughts?
Well, Stan's got an interesting take on that. We together have been working on this idea for a long time, is how to create a situation where from your cell phone you can make that phone more useful to monitor things that are going on at your home. As Stan said, it could be as little as leaving the kids at home, teenagers at home, and if you've got a liquor cabinet there, putting a sensor on the liquor cabinet, and the minute that door's opened, it'll it'll send a signal to the cell phone saying the liquor cabinet door's been opened. It could be as simple as the gun rack. There's a number of ways to use that. If you're on a trip, let's say you're down in Florida and you're sitting on the beach and you want to kind of check on the home, turn the lights on. There's technology is out there already. You can control your entire home with a specific security box that can be set up to where if you're sitting on the beach and it's 7 o'clock at night down there and you want the lights to come on to make it look like you're still at home, you just dial in on your phone, go in there, change the code pops up, the lights turn on.
Roy, these teenagers who want to have parties while mom and dad are gone, they're in trouble.
It's over.
Man, it's over for them. My teenagers, it's not going to happen. Dad's going to be watching.
What's interesting is there's a lot of other things that a lot of these carriers are doing now. It's called parental control on a lot of these devices that you can actually turn the phone off and turn the phone on whenever you want it to be used. You can monitor through GPS where your kids are at. The whole world is changing to where you know where everybody's at any one given time. Remember, one of the main reasons why people buy phones for kids is they want to be able to find out where they're at when they're looking for them. If it's late and they've missed curfew and they want to find out exactly where they're at. The sad part about it is what turned parents to texting is the fact that when they call the kid's phone, they don't answer. So they send them a text.
Class, I've got a thought here. One of our instructors is from California, and he was out here in Springfield, Missouri, and he said, shoot, I got to go check on my front door. So he's 2,000 miles away, pulls up his phone, and he's looking at his security camera, and he goes, hey, what's that guy doing at my front door? So he called the police. So there are bona fide uses.
Oh, yeah.
And he was thousands of miles away. Stan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's great, and that's one of the main uses of this technology is to either be able to initiate a check-on of your different cameras at your house or your business, or to set the camera system up to where they will actually detect motion in a sensitive area and trigger a signal to your cell phone so you can see what's going on. And Roy, you mentioned the GPS functions that are available, and there's various technology and apps available that parents can install on their or have installed on their kids' cell phones, and they can actually track the location of their kids and the kids not be aware of it.
Now, Riggs, why don't you tell them a little bit about the GPS functions of these phones? He's a technician who's been with me for a long time.
All right. Well, the GPS on all these smartphones are basically what you'll see on any computer. It's just making everything mobile. If you want to go from one direction to the next direction, just punch it in your maps, and it gives you direction, navigation, turn by turn, and you can't beat it. It's like a Garmin and TomTom. It's all on one device.
So, Riggs, are you saying that with your smartphone you have destination directions, turn by turn,
definitely
built into your phone?
Definitely, and a lot of time we get a lot of customers that come in and just brag about their TomTom and Garmin and all that. And you know what? My phone does everything that your Garmin does and more. Emails, and phones just make life much easier. The smartphone.
I have a question about that. With my iPhone, that happens to be the one that I selected.
Yeah.
If I want to record or save to my phone MP3s of our show, so I can listen to the mistakes that Mark and I make over and over again, can I do that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's apps for that. You can. There's a recorder app. Just record the whole show, and then you can play it back anytime and share it with others.
So are you saying that I can go to our website, radiospringfield.com, and click on the app and record right from my phone and save it as an MP3?
Oh, definitely.
That's amazing.
Well, you have to show me how to do that right after the show.
Why haven't you been doing that?
Well, I'm going to learn how to do it right after the show.
All right.
Then we can tell the class how to do that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Stan just pulled up. Is that where we are, Stan? Right there?
Well, it's still initializing, but it will show it here in just a second. But that's the map of Springfield, and it's got the little blue arrow there. And once it initializes and sees the satellites, the GPS satellites, which are, of course, Department of Defense, then it will initialize and it will track you. It'll give you directions. It'll tell you where you are, but then you can put in an address. Say you needed to go to Bolivar or Lebanon, someplace like that, and don't know the address. You can just enter the address into the smartphone, and it'll search the database online, and it will give you turn-by-turn directions on how to get there.
And that is free.
Wow, that's great. I can see our office there right on the side. Is that the men's room right there over there?
Don't be looking in there. You're going to get us thrown out of here.
Now, that's the lounge where Smiling Bob is.
Stan, tell them a little bit about, you told me the story about you were down in Arkansas calling on a business client down there, and you wanted to do a demo on your phone?
That's right. I was down talking to a contact that we had made there at the expo back in the spring, and he was concerned. He didn't realize the technology was available, and he was real concerned about being able to watch his property because he's being harassed by a neighbor, big legal battle and all that. And he said, is there anything that can be put together to where I can keep an eye on my property, because I'm really worried about this guy coming and doing some vandalism and things like that. And I said, Lou, we've already got that. And I was way out on towards Lead Hill and out in the country, but I had decent cell phone service out there and was able to pull up cameras at a one of our demo locations, and he was just flabbergasted that was available. And he said, "I got to have this."
Well, folks, one thing that we're sitting here playing with all these phones, and we can do all of these functions on these phones, but going back to the technology away from the phone, the technology away from the phone is starting to catch up. I go back to the car radios that they're making now. Most of the car radios that are coming out now that have Bluetooth in them not only send the voice signal over, but they will read your text on the radio. Mm-hmm. They will show you everything on that phone. Will be even your call list will be on there, so you can actually pull up your favorite people on the radio on the car. So all of this stuff is being able to be interlinked.
Yeah, I think, Roy, that's an important function, especially with our older audience who has apprehension about these smartphones. You could almost do everything with voice recognition software. Yeah. Just tell the phone what to do, it'll do it, and it's pretty simple.
That's correct. If you're driving down the road and you want to call home, almost all of these phones, on all of these smartphones, you can say call home, and it automatically recognizes your voice, calls you home.
Well, that's great information for our audience. You are listening to USA Prepares on KWTO 560 AM. We're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back and learn more about cellular phones.
I know there's something happening.
This can be sliding.
What are today's hot?
God, you're
Take my when you go to DC for 2 seconds during
Class is back in session. Turn up the volume. USAPrepares.com with the original survival economist, Vincent Finelli and Mark Wright.
This is USA Prepares on KWTO 560 AM, the talk of the Ozarks, and class is back in session about everything you ever wanted to know about cellular phones and more with Choose Your Own Wireless, Roy Birdsong. Vinny, take it away.
Roy and Stan, I've got a question for all of you, and Riggs too. What happens when we want to make a call outside the country? Will my phone work, Roy, if I want to call outside the country? Do I need to do something special? What happens when I try to make a call outside the country?
Well, primarily everything that's used outside the United States is predominantly is GSM, which is the same network or the same communications software that AT&T and T-Mobile use. Remember, T-Mobile is a German company. It's owned by Deutsche Telekom, or at least it's going to be owned for a short period of time until AT&T buys it. But you can get with the CDMA technology, and CDMA is what Verizon, Alltel ran off of, US Cellular, and Sprint all run off. It's one of the oldest technologies out there. And CDMA, some phones with all of these different carriers are called global phones. They will accommodate a SIM card. A SIM card is simply the operating system. That's what talks to the towers, tells them your phone's on and is ready to be used. So if you've got a global device, you can talk outside the country. The other interesting thing is if you do have a global device, it's usually that portion of the phone is unlocked, which means if you go to another country, let's say you go to Germany or you go to Great Britain, and you want to buy a SIM card with time on it, you can just slide that SIM card in your phone, power the phone up, and you'll be able to use it. Now, CDMA's been around a long time in this country. Other countries now have CDMA networks set up. It's not as big as the GSM side outside of this country, but they're slowly building that network up. They're going to need it because with the expanding population base, they're going to need more ways to communicate.
Okay, so do we get charged extra for calling outside the country if we are outside the country? Like if I'm in Canada, for example, or Mexico, do I pay the normal rates or are the rates different?
No, you'll pay a roaming rate. It just depends on which carrier you're on. For example, if you're on T-Mobile, you will pay, the last time I remember with T-Mobile, you paid 99 cents a minute to use that phone down in Mexico if you're on the GSM side. Now, if you take that same phone and you can get it unlocked and you go down there and buy a SIM card that's local down there, your rates are going to be really cheap. You will not be using the same phone number. You'll actually get a different phone number. But you'll be able to use that SIM card in that phone and probably call at 20 cents a minute.
Okay, so do I talk to my provider to find out, or do I talk to the person that sold me the phone, or what do I do, Roy?
Yeah,
Or do I talk to you?
Well, if you go out of the country a lot, then you need to talk to you need to talk to the dealer. They need to fit you with the right phone.